Hi everybody, welcome to the very first episode of ParentsXP, where we help you level up your parenting. Today I have got a guest. She is a former U.S. Marine. She's an entrepreneur, a mother of two, both a 12-year-old and a 4-year-old. And she is the queen of craft shows in Utah, Emily.
Hi.
And now we are both terribly awkward because neither of us are good at being on camera. But, just bear with us. This is the first episode. Let me explain a little bit of what this is all about, right? I'm going to explain it to you again, just so we can kind of get out of the mindset that these cameras are watching us and just forget about it and have a conversation. So the whole point of this, the whole point of the recordings are so I can find out who you are, and so people can either relate to you or understand that they don't really know you. And then they can watch you from in another place. So maybe you have a really cool technique with parenting, how you discipline your children, or a routine you have with them, or just something that's really fun that you do that not a lot of people do. Especially because then people can get your perspective on like how your kids experience Disney. That's the kind of conversation I would go into. But that way, somebody, somewhere else can watch, and they can get those perspectives, and they can adapt their parenting based on, some person that they never would have met in the real world.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So, I guess we'll jump right into it. Perfect. Okay. So, would you mind explaining maybe a little bit about what as much as you would like to explain of what you do, a little bit about maybe how you raise your kids, just any important information for the viewers to know about you. I don't know, I'm putting you on the spot. I'll help you along the way as well.
Okay. Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I homeschool my kids. Yeah, I homeschool my kids, and I'm just one of those rock stars. What can I say?
Right.
I'm all over the place.
How long have you been married for?
I've been married for 16 years this year.
Okay.
Yep. And my husband and I, we never dated. We were best friends, and he waited for me throughout the Marines and everything, and we just ended up getting married.
Oh, nice. And how long have you been married now then?
16 years, yeah.
16 years. Okay. How long have you known each other? Sorry.
We've known each other now for 23 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. 23 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've only known my wife for 7 years now, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been together 6.5 of those.
You got a long way to go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're a little bit behind, but Okay, so you have 2 kids.
Yep.
12-year-old boy, Hayden.
Yes.
And 4-year-old daughter, Maddie.
Yes.
That's it. Okay. I'm horrible with names usually, but I'm getting better at remembering them. So
it's okay.
Tell me a little bit about your kids, like something that makes Hayden, something that makes Maddie, their personalities, some struggles you have with them.
So we'll start off with Hayden. Hayden, I've always homeschooled. He's never been in a real school. He has ADHD, and he is just a ball of crazy. He has actually been an entrepreneur since he was about 7 years old. Every summer, he sets up a hot dog cart. We travel here in Utah with the Children's Entrepreneur Market, and he brings in a good $2,000 per summer. So, and
Jeez.
yeah, and
nice.
he's saving up for college and everything, and so yeah,
Wow.
That's Hayden.
How can anybody find out about that program that you do?
It's on Facebook. They're on Facebook. It's called
What would they look up again?
the Children's Entrepreneur Market.
Okay. And is that only within Utah, do you know, or is that within other states?
No,
as
they've
well?
actually expanded. Let's see, they're in Utah, Texas, Pennsylvania, and I believe Arizona now.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's super fun. It's really beneficial for children. What happens is the parents actually they can kind of help, but they're not supposed to deal with the customers. So the kids are getting a lot of social, real life experience in it, and they're learning to count change back, and they make their own things. Like my son, he used to make hot dogs, or he does make hot dogs, and my husband actually helps with the grill, you know, because he's always been a little too young.
Yeah.
This year we're going to try to wing him to do the barbecue and everything.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, and then we just step back as parents. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, he knows how to count change back to people. I mean, he's done that since he was about 7 years old. So, I mean, he's very smart, you know, and he's just a social butterfly. I mean, you literally cannot walk past his booth without buying a hot dog. Yeah. He wanted to sell hot dogs. He's always wanted to sell hot dogs. He wanted to sell hot dogs with his grandpa, and his grandpa was there for, you know, a couple times, but, you know, he has some health issues, so. But yeah, we came up with the hot dog meal deal, and it was only $5, and he'd give the customers 2 hot dogs, a drink, chips, and a dessert. You know, he just did such an amazing job and everything. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and he enjoys doing that? Does he still do it?
He does enjoy doing it. We are actually going to switch things up this year. He's decided that he wants to make candies that are basically recipes from around the world. So yeah, he wants to make some Japanese candies, some candies from India. So he's compiling all these recipes.
Yeah.
So that's what he wants to do.
Like, what is he making them to the kitchen at your house?
Yeah.
What kind of candies are they? Like hard candies?
It's just various candies. So he's really interested in like Mexican candy, and on my recent trip from Kansas from a craft show, he wanted me to pick up some Mexican candy, but the only Mexican candy that there was really hot, like chili powder, and my son, he can't even eat salsa, and you know, so you know, he's going to be learning about all the candies and everything. So
explore, let his taste buds explore.
Oh yeah, especially with that Mexican candy.
Yeah.
I mean,
like even some tahini. Do you guys have any tahini? Okay, I'll let you borrow the tahini. Do you guys have any fruit at your house?
Fruit?
Yeah, like apple, watermelon.
Yeah, we do.
Grape.
We have.
Okay, so like tahini is wonderful, and it's this spice that it's like I don't know if it's from Mexico. It's Mexican inspired for sure. A lot of Hispanic people use it on fruit. And it's so good. Yeah. It's kind of like the stuff that you see rolled, like lollipops rolled in. You know? It's a wonderful flavor to pair with sweet. It gives you that really sweet and sour kind of thing that goes on. Yeah. And it works really, really well. It could be cool to incorporate into some candy. Yeah. It'd be a good selling point, you know, tahini candies.
There you go.
Yeah. But anyways, let's go back to some of the main discussions here, right? So now let's talk a little about Hayden's ADD.
ADHD.
ADHD, okay, because he has that hyperactive aspect too, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, he does. So, we do try to regulate it, you know, through diet and everything. He is not on medication. And,
have you ever tried medication?
I tried it for about 6 months, and, you know, the thing is it's not, when it comes to that type of stuff, like, yes, it helps, but it's temporary. I'm looking for a long-term thing, and you know, I can't do that to him. I feel like if I just put him on medication and not try to find an alternate route, it's just going to be a disservice for him when he grows up to be an adult.
What have you tried outside of medication? And what else works? You know, your diet. What specific diet?
So he has recently gone back onto the gluten-free diet.
Nice.
We tried that a couple of years ago, and I mean, it did. It worked. It just took the hyperactivity down a notch. You know, and
so he's not doing like keto or anything, right? He still has
no.
Carbs. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's just
no gluten.
Yeah, no glutens, and then we're staying away from sugars like candy and all that stuff.
So he is effectively on a higher fat, lower carb diet as well.
Pretty much.
Like naturally. I guess unless you eat like a lot of pizza, because that's high fat, high carb.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And see, pizza is one of his favorite things, so we have to find an alternative for him. So, you know, but we just we deal with it, and that's one of the reasons why I homeschool because he needs that extra attention,
Yeah.
you know, and just because of it, I've always felt like school was never right for him. The traditional school was never right for him. I mean,
Yeah.
he's extremely smart,
Mhm.
you know, but
I mean, he made $2,000 last year.
Yeah.
That's more than me.
yeah.
That's more than I made last year. So that's more than double what I made last year.
Don't say that.
So, do you mind if I tell you about my experience with ADD? Because I also have ADD, or
Yeah.
had ADD. I say it in the past tense. So, all through school, I was in special ed classes, you know, from as early as I remember in elementary school, all the way up until my freshman year in high school. My dad was the person who got me out of those classes. And, you know, he says, this is what my father said, I don't know how true it is, but they want to keep you in these classes because they get more money for having, like, resource students.
And that's
in their
actually
classes.
true.
Yeah, and
That
that's
is true.
something that I can confirm kind of happens with Tessa as well.
Yeah.
What she said. But they do it very differently now from when I was in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in school, you go to specific classes for special education. Now they have what's called an IEP, an individualized education plan. And that IEP is a lot better because they're still integrated in with the normal class, so they're having the normal social structures. But I was very normal. I was very abnormal socially as well.
Yeah.
Very, very awkward. I had a lot of OCDs and anxiety issues and disorders. And it was, I was a mess. I was a hot mess when I was a kid. A lot of therapy, self-therapy as an adult. But anyway, so with ADD here, I was on Adderall as when I turned maybe 23, I started taking it out. 23, 24, 25. Right around those years, I started taking Adderall. And I think it really helped in a different way because it helped me actually understand what it's like to be able to focus and pay attention. And the thing is you can't just take the Adderall and just do what you normally do.
Yeah.
If you want to actually get better, you have to take the Adderall and you have to do the things you don't like doing. Like I would take it and I would read books. I hated reading.
Yeah.
With a burning passion, I hated reading. You know, I would read sometimes at work and stuff, but like it would take me literally months to get through one book. Months, you know.
Yeah.
And the problem is I would read a paragraph, but I would be thinking about something else.
Yeah.
So then I would just forget everything I just read. I would be reading it in my mind.
Yeah.
While thinking of other things, like, you know, attention deficit disorder. My attention was just always shotgunned out. So really using it as a crutch to kind of say, okay, this is what it's like to be normal.
Yeah.
Also understanding that you are normal, just a different kind of normal, because there's a lot of people who are like that. And then lastly, the biggest thing I did was meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation really, really helped. And it was hard to start meditating, but I used what's called the Wim Hof method, which is a breathing technique. And doing that, I learned what a meditative state felt like within my brain. And then I was able to do that afterwards. But that's what I speak past tense of my ADD now. I don't think I have ADD anymore. I have the ability now to make my attention as focused as I want. And it just took a lot of years of practice. But, you know, that's one of the things I want to, like, directly help with my organization, Jugi, is children who need help with ADD and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But have you ever tried meditation or anything with him? Or how do you feel about meditation, I guess?
I mean, I've meditated and everything, and
Okay.
but with Hayden, it's a hyperactivity.
That
So
makes sense.
it doesn't. Yeah, he can't sit still. But you know, the thing is my husband's ADHD, and just kind of like you, he had to overcome it.
Yeah.
So we talk, and you know, it's just like what my husband says. Hayden's gonna have to. He's gonna have to overcome it. Eventually, he's just gonna have to overcome it, and he's gonna have to sit down. But that's why I homeschool. I do a different type of homeschool, and I mean, homeschooling has, I've always, you know, I started out really strict, and the problem is, you know, and I've realized this for years, but it's just so hard as a human being to get it out of. So we're all conditioned as a society to think these kids have to learn by this age, you know, and they have to learn this, and this, and this.
Milestones.
Well, for years and years, there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears with homeschooling.
For you?
Hayden?
With Hayden, you're saying?
Oh, for Hayden. For Hayden and I. I mean, it you know, it's just, and I've been constantly sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, okay, how can I get this kid to learn? Because with his ADHD, it's extremely hard to try to teach a child, okay?
Yeah.
And so over the years, I've gone another way, so when it comes to his math, because math, he's a genius in math.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was 5 years old, I was teaching him division.
Oh, wow.
And, oh yeah, he's...
when then you learn to, like, count.
Yeah, oh no, I mean, he's always been smart at math.
Wow.
Well, I'm sitting there teaching him division when he's 5 years old, and then he looks, because we had a clock, a traditional clock, okay? And he says, he explained, he told, I says, what's this? And, so he worked out, and then he looked at the clock, and he says, Mommy, this is how I do it. And he literally, long story short, he learned to divide on a clock.
Oh, wow. He taught himself to divide?
He taught himself on a clock, on a traditional clock, on how to divide. And
An analog clock, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like I sat there and I asked him, I said, how did you do this? And
Yeah.
I couldn't even understand how he did this. But he did it.
Yeah.
He did it.
Wow.
I mean, so, like I said, over the years, we've kind of stepped away from the traditional schooling type. So now it's kind of like an unschooling.
Mm-hmm. An unschooling.
It's called unschooling. Yeah.
Is that what you call it? Or is
No,
that
no, that's what it's known.
Okay.
It's called unschooling.
What is that? Is that like,
So-
is that a movement or something?
Well, it's just a part of homeschooling. It's
Okay.
just a part, you don't have really a curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
For his math, it is structured. It is a
Okay.
curriculum. And then right now, let's see, he just graduated from learning American Sign Language,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's into French.
Does he know American Sign
Uh-huh.
Language?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So like fluently, or like he understands all the letters?
Yeah, and he can talk and
wow.
everything. Yeah, he can talk and
How long did that take him?
maybe about 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he loved it. That was the
Yeah.
one subject he absolutely loved.
Interesting.
Now he loves doing French.
Yeah.
So that is based off of a curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, his language arts has always been difficult for him.
Mm-hmm.
Reading comprehension and everything has been very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the other subjects, you got language arts, science, history, all of that. We're at the unschooling part.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is every week I ask him, I say, Hayden, what do you want to learn this week? And so I say, what do you want to learn in history? So he'll tell me a subject. Like this week, we're learning about the history of the Statue of Liberty.
Uh-huh.
And for science, we're learning about the solar system.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we do is we get, he tells me what he wants to learn, and then we set up projects.
Real quick, where does he get the ideas for these? Is there like a whole catalog of things, or
No, this is his interests.
Okay, so how do you
Because-
find this interest?
He
Google
loves
sometimes?
he loves watching documentaries.
Okay.
You will not see him watching cartoons. You'll see him watching
Like
documentaries.
what kinds?
Everything.
Planet Earth?
Everything.
On all the streaming services? Does he have a favorite?
Everything. He loves draining the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah,
What is
learning.
that on?
I think it might be Discovery.
Okay.
I think so.
We don't have Discovery here.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and he learns about shipwrecks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's always been like that. But so we just basically take his interests, and that way, it covers. You may not think it does,
Mm-hmm.
but it covers also language arts, because I have him do projects. Part of his projects is writing, and the thing is kids like this, they don't comprehend, like there's rules to it, and that's what I slowly noticed with Hayden. So now we're just focused on the writing,
Yeah.
just right.
Yeah.
So
Does he have good penmanship?
his cursive is.
Oh, okay. You taught him cursive.
I taught him cursive when
Do
he
you
was
feel
5.
it's useful?
Oh, absolutely. So, funny story about this. I was at one of my craft shows, and I'm a proud mama. My son is very smart, and I was actually talking to He was a principal at
Public school?
at a school. No, it was a private school.
Oh, okay. Private or charter?
No, it was private.
Okay.
And you know, I'm sitting there because I brag about my son, and he was one of those people which most educators are, and I get that, and that's okay, against homeschooling, because they look at it as parents have no idea what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, I've run into a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, and it's like, well, you know, my son, he's so smart. You know, I taught him how to write in cursive. He can read in cursive, and he looked at me. He says, "That's a dying art. That is just nothing but a waste of time. Why would you do that?"
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him, and I said, "It's not a dying art."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "My son can read old documents like the Constitution."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And I said, and yeah, I mean, my 16-year-old nephew interviewed me and I had to write my answers down. I wrote them all in cursive because that's all I write in.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even read it.
Yeah, really.
And it's like, and to me, that is very important, that children, and unfortunately they don't do this in the school systems anymore, but it's very important that that these children do learn cursive, because, I mean, they're missing a big part of their history as it is.
Yeah.
You know, so he just looked at me though, and he just never thought of it like that. And it's like, yeah. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, is you're taking control of your child's education, you know. So I think it's great.
Yeah. And I can read cursive, but I definitely can't write it anymore. I could get some words and some letters out, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it's just, you know.
So I better never write you a letter, right?
No, I can read it. I can read it.
Oh, that's right. You
I
can read it.
Yeah, I can. It's like Spanish. When I'm listening to somebody speaking Spanish, I can pick up on words and I can piece it together.
Yeah.
But I don't know word for word what they're saying.
Yeah.
Or especially reading. I can read Spanish much better, but
Yeah.
I've taken quite a few years of Spanish. So what are some of the pros and cons, in your opinion, of homeschooling?
I mean, I've taken responsibility for his education.
Yeah.
You have to be involved in, you know, with your
Yes.
child's education. You
Yes.
can't just, you just can't sit here and say,
Now, how many hours a week do you work on your
on my business?
Yeah, how many hours a week? Just so we can give the viewers kind of a perspective of, you're a stay-at-home mom.
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
You do most of the housework and taking care of the kids, but
Yep.
you're an entrepreneur and you're a homeschooler.
Yep.
How do you balance those three things? So, like, what kind of hours do you do working on your business?
So,
And then how many hours do you spend a week on the schooling, the actual hands-on working with
Mhm.
him, preparing things to and from events, just so we can kind of get a breakdown of like what somebody might expect if they wanted to do what you're doing.
okay. So with my business, I work about 16 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
I mean, running machines, running up and down. So, and putting my kits and everything together.
Mm-hmm.
In
How
the
much
middle.
of that time are you actively working, like where you can't be doing something else?
Oh no! With what I do, the machines are doing it themselves.
Mhm.
So I just go, you know, once it's done, I gather all the pieces and then I put another board in. So I mean,
Okay.
yeah, and I just let it run.
Yeah.
Okay, and then in the middle of doing that, I'm involved with my kids' education.
Mhm.
Okay, and we probably now. People are probably not going to agree with this, but schooling doesn't need to be 8 hours a day, like at public school. It doesn't.
I personally agree with that.
Yeah. And so we maybe my son spends probably 2 hours a day.
Oh, okay.
2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And he, you know, with my daughter, we spend, because I'm doing preschool with her, so we spend maybe 20 minutes a day.
Okay.
Okay. And the thing is another important thing is not letting them, you know, I let them sleep in.
Mm-hmm.
I let them sleep in however long
Yeah.
they want.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 11, sometimes it's 12.
Mm-hmm.
But they've gotten a good night's sleep, and that is the most important thing that you can do when it comes to
Yes.
school. They
Yes.
need their sleep.
100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, I live a very chaotic life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I'm constantly working on my business. I'm constantly I'm doing school with my kids. I'm hanging out with my kids. I'm, taking care of the dogs, helping my husband take care of the dogs. So, yeah.
How many dogs?
5.
5 dogs. Ooh, that's a woof. That's a lot of dogs.
2 cats and a turtle.
And a turtle. Just the cherry on top is Nimitz. Right?
Yeah.
Nimitz. Admiral Nimitz. He's him and Oreo, or not him and Oreo. Him and what's your other cat's name?
Rosie.
Nimitz and Rosie are definitely Eli's favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the criticism you get from homeschooling. What if somebody wanted to start homeschooling and they're nervous to do it because they're like, it's going to be bad, people are going to judge me? What are some of the negative things that people might want to anticipate when homeschooling? And then what are some of the things that you do to stop those from being issues in your life?
Well, I actually, I'm on a homeschooler's Facebook page, and I see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
you
but
see what? So,
I see people asking that type of question where, because their husband, because these are mostly women,
mm-hmm.
their husband is against the homeschooling, and their family members, their friends will say stuff, and it's like, you just gotta ignore it. You as a parent know what's best for your children. If you feel like school isn't the traditional school, take them out.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, children learn.
Mm-hmm.
They learn at a different pace. They learn a different way. I mean,
mm-hmm.
children are not all the same. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've had critics myself, and the thing is I don't listen to those people.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's best for my children.
Yeah.
And, one of the biggest things that people say is the social skills.
Mm-hmm.
But, here's the thing. And this is the world that we live in today. We live in a very techie world.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is in their cell phone. And, I mean, I hear so many people are like, oh, yeah, my friend. And it's like, well, where did you meet your friend? Oh, on Facebook. And it's
Have you
like,
ever met them? Nope, but they're my friend. But
see,
you know their whole life story.
And that's the thing, is people are like that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, going back to it, I mean, with the social thing, it's like, why are we so worried about social?
Yeah.
I mean, people today are socially stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of tech.
Yeah.
We talk to each other by text message, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even I'm guilty of that. I'd rather talk to somebody through text than on the phone.
How often do we talk, especially face-to-face?
Exactly.
Right?
Well,
easy just to shoot a text message.
You and I text, and then
we see each other at the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's basically it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as far as social skills, because you're going to hear about, homeschooling's so bad because of the social skills.
Mm-hmm.
It's not true. Trust me, the kids will get it.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many co-ops in the United States. There's a lot of programs if you just look.
I'm just going to check on this one real quick.
Okay.
I'm still listening. There's so many programs. There's so many co-ops.
Yeah, there's programs like the aquarium, for example, in Utah, the Loveland Planet Aquarium.
Okay.
You just show them your affidavit, and
What affidavit?
it's called an affidavit, where it's you pull your kids out of school, you take your responsibility. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's just saying, hey, I'm legally taking my kids out of school.
Oh, okay.
So you take that and you go down to Loveland Planet Aquarium.
Okay.
You get in for free.
Yeah.
And children only get in, I think it's $7.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Because you're an educator, right?
Yes,
okay.
Because I'm an educator. But there's a lot of programs. There's a lot of homeschool programs, like at the Ogden Nature Center.
Yeah.
So there are social programs, that you can do and everything. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So where would be the best place to go to get resources? Not to get resources, to get information on. Let's say somebody has very specific questions. Where would you direct them to go about homeschooling?
First off, I would...
Is there an organization for homeschooling?
Yes, and I can't think... It's an organization, and I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Is it government?
No.
Okay.
No. And I will say there are different laws in each state. So Utah is one of the freest states in the country.
Okay.
So you have to abide by those laws. If you want to homeschool,
Yes.
you do have to abide by those laws.
Yeah.
I mean,
they might have to take certain tests still and hit certain milestones.
they have in some
county.
states they do. Like I
Okay.
think in California is very strict when it comes to homeschooling and everything.
Okay.
So, but I mean, if you're interested in homeschooling, you want questions, reach out to the Facebook pages. There's tons of them, for homeschooling and everything.
Just county name homeschoolers?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it would be like Weber County homeschoolers.
Yeah, or
right?
Davis County homeschoolers.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. So
Perfect.
look it up and everything. So,
Okay, awesome. Now, how hard is it to start that process? Is it difficult? Personally, I've never actually even had to register a child for school. That's something my ex-wife has always done, or my wife has always done now. So I've never even done that process. I don't know how hard it is, but what are some of the steps you have to do to homeschool? How long does it take?
So what here in Utah, you have to write a formal letter that says that your child will not be attending, whatever school district there is, and that you are going to be homeschooling, and that you are acknowledging that that you are taking control of their education.
Okay.
And then you have to just go to a notary, get it notarized, and then you send it to the school district. That's it.
Handwritten or can it be typed out?
Typed.
Okay,
No,
typed and then
typed.
signed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there like an outline or layout? that
Oh, yeah,
somebody
and
can
you-
find?
yeah.
What do they search?
I would just do Google.
Google.
Yeah.
Like what would you type into Google?
What
is that called?
Homeschool affidavit.
Okay. Outline.
Yeah, maybe outline.
Okay.
Yeah, or example or something. So
Interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
And then how long does it take? Like, let's say
no, it's immediate.
I'm upset at the school. Where do I go when I take this to the school?
No, you would send it into the school district.
Okay. So that would be like for us in Davis County.
But
That would be the office in Farmington.
Yes,
Okay.
but it's immediate.
Okay.
It is immediate. There's no
Yeah.
waiting
Because
period.
you're exercising your right as a legal
As a
guardian
parent.
and parent.
Mhm.
Okay, nice. Okay, and then how do you find out about what resources you should be using? Like, let's say, okay, I'm upset at the school system. I just got my kid out.
Mhm.
Now, I need resources. I need help. Outside of the Facebook group, do you know the name of that organization?
Do I know that? I can't think of the organization.
But just look
But-
up homeschooling.
Yeah, but even
Let's say they want to follow the curriculum.
okay,
Find the
well,
curriculums.
okay, so there are tons and tons of curriculums, and we started out with a curriculum called ABECA,
Mm-hmm.
and ABECA is
Spell that.
ABEKE or KA.
ABEK. Rebecca. Okay.
So ABECA is non-Common Core, and that is the one thing in my homeschool is Common Core is not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always made sure that if we follow a curriculum, there's no Common Core.
Mm-hmm.
So ABECA is an amazing, program and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it is more advanced. There's online ones like My Academy.
Mm-hmm.
There's there's just so many of them. All you got to do is just type in homeschool curriculum. One of my favorites was it is religious. I'm not religious, but I loved this curriculum because it was just nothing but hands-on, and it wasn't. It was basically an open go book. It was called The Good and the Beautiful.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to be doing that curriculum with my daughter.
Oh, okay.
So we did it with Hayden, and he just got too bored with it. So that's why we kind of moved on. But I loved it for one because it was nothing but hands on. I mean, so
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for being quiet. I appreciate that. That's something I don't think I wouldn't even want to do necessarily. I would rather put my kid, and this is just my personal thing. It's it's not right or wrong. It's just different.
Yeah.
Right? I would want to put my kids in a charter school over homeschooling them, just because that's such a big burden I feel to take on. Like,
But it
education
really isn't.
but it's such a big part of their life
It is.
I mean, my philosophy is be a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want to stop learning. I've learned more since I've been out of school, arguably, than I learned when I was in school. And that's mostly because I taught myself how to learn.
But see, that's a great thing, though, about homeschooling,
Mm-hmm.
is that you can send your kid and say, hey, what do you want to learn? I am raising my children to be free thinkers.
Yes. Yeah.
And, to me, honestly, I think there's a one-way, there's too many politics in the public schools and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a one-way thinking, and I think it's brainwashing our children.
Mm-hmm.
So with homeschooling, I'm teaching them to be a free thinker. Stop, even don't go with the crowd. Think for yourself. If something's not right, go with your gut instinct.
Yeah.
Don't sit here and say, well, these people are saying this. I think it's wrong, but I'm going to go with them.
Yeah.
Don't think like that.
Yeah.
Don't ever think like that.
The biggest thing is just making that decision yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, and I completely agree with that. We do need more people who are free thinking,
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the kids. My personal philosophy on teaching is that it should be really kind of dedicated to personality types.
Yeah.
I think you should have the same personality type teacher as you have personality type child, or at least a learning type.
Yeah.
Like, there's different personality types, but there's also different learning personality types.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so if you compare those, you're going to get optimal information through, because they're going to be doing there's like the 5 different
Mm-hmm.
ways. I can't recall them all right now, but
Yeah.
so like either very hands-on or very visual,
Yep.
very audio, and I'm definitely like, you can hand me a book and say learn something, and I could, but that
But it has to be-
helps a lot. And
It
that's
has
what
to be
school
interesting
does.
to you, though,
Exactly. And that's one big thing
Mhm.
that is really cool about homeschooling. I think,
Yeah.
from what you said, is you're allowing them to be interested in things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, an interview I was listening to him talking about raising your children, what he does at his house.
Mhm.
As long as it's not hurting the child or anybody, he lets them do anything they want.
Mhm.
Like, he'll let them break things so they can understand the physics of how things crash down and explode out,
Yeah.
He'll let them make messes, he'll let them rip papers up, as long as they're not hurting themselves or anyone else. And that's kind of the cool thing, because what you're doing is very similar. You're allowing them to explore their natural creativity, which is a huge aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I mean, the one thing that most people I've noticed, and I hate to say it, but I was one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things is people sit there and say, oh my God, my child hasn't learned this, because all these experts say they should know this. No. Step back, let your child learn, let them learn how they need to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Eventually they will get it.
Yeah.
It's just like writing.
Yeah.
I mean, with my son, he is horrible in language arts.
Yeah.
Has never been able to comprehend the, just the basics of writing,
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to take a step back from it.
Yeah.
Because he's not learning. I was sitting here, and I'll be honest, I was sitting there forcing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my God, it's not working. It's not working. So I'm going to step back,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll do this, what interests you.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll start writing.
Yeah. And he learns it in his own way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Another thing, because I asked this woman, and I had never thought about it, because she has a child that has dysgraphia. Okay.
What's dysgraphia?
So it's a problem where they basically they can't form sentences. They can't put the periods, the capitals, proper English, just that type of, that's what it basically is.
Is it just like is it an inability to comprehend how that works?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. So basically what she does, and I mean, her daughter now she's an adult and she still struggles.
Yeah.
But what she taught her daughter to do, which I'm going to be incorporating with my son, speech to text, speech to text.
Mm-hmm.
And so she would have her daughter, talk, while writing,
Mm-hmm.
talk though first.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, what needs to happen here?
Yeah.
And so the daughter could say, oh, this, and this.
Okay.
And then she'd write it down. Yeah, she would read it herself. And she did get it in that sense.
Okay.
So.
What was that called again?
Dysgraphia.
I have no idea how to spell it.
I think it falls in the lines of like dyslexia.
Yeah.
So.
It sounds similar to like Wyatt has a hard time with reading and stuff as well with his apraxia. But he's got apraxia with speech. So it's kind of the same, but it's going the opposite direction. It's not on the information in, it's in the information out.
Yeah.
And it gets jumbled up in his lips.
Yeah.
It's like he talks and his lips just do their own thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so, exactly.
But you know what? I think a lot of that stuff is just like me and my childhood having ADD and stuff. I think a lot of it is just you have to learn how. You have to have enough life experiences to move on and really get past like those hurdles.
Yeah.
You have to understand that it's not a bad thing to be different.
No.
Right? It's a good thing because everybody has their own struggles.
Yeah.
And I hated myself. I mean, this is literally how I describe it. I was that fat, stupid kid that nobody liked.
Yeah.
That's literally how I saw myself growing up. And like that's empowering to me now because it's like I came from that and now I'm here. So I always like to pass that kind of stuff on to people who have, learning disabilities or any kind of disability, or they just have low self-confidence,
Yeah.
That's really something I push on my kids. I try and get their confidence up.
Yeah.
Because I feel that when you have a lot of confidence, you know what you want. Really, those are, some of the most important things you have is confidence, and you have to know what you want, so then you can go and get it.
Yep, exactly.
Raising Hayden the way you definitely works. Yeah.
Well, I try.
How do the degrees work with homeschooling? Can you take them all the way through and graduate with his GED?
Oh, yeah.
How did that work?
So here in Utah, yes, he can go all the way through. And like here in Utah, it can work two ways. Either he can go get his GED, or I actually issue him the diploma.
Okay.
And then when it comes to college, because people always have questions about college, because they're worried about college. So just a little tip, when it comes to college, colleges prefer homeschoolers because they're disciplined.
Okay.
And they know their stuff.
Yeah.
They've been taught.
Yeah.
Okay. So like at the University of Weber, Weber State. There we go. Weber State. I've heard through the various homeschoolers that they actually offer homeschoolers a 4-year free ride.
What?
Yes. They have to have a certain criteria.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah. So in order for your kid to attend college, your homeschooler, to attend college, you make the transcripts, and most colleges do accept transcripts from homeschoolers.
Yeah. Now, how about grades? Do you grade Hayden? Does he receive grades?
How
does he have a GP? Does he have a GPA?
You know what? Here's the thing. When it comes to grades, I don't put pressure on him. I don't put the pressure on him. I don't grade him. Okay. No. I grade him basically mentally.
Yeah.
I grade him and think to myself, I just look at him and, at the end of the year, I actually do, I do test him, through this, system where it goes to the public schools. So I can actually see where he's at, compare the public school and him. And he's always 2 to 3, nice. on most of it.
Yeah.
So about with language arts, he's about normal. So yeah. But everything else,
he's way ahead.
He's way ahead.
Nice. How about his reading?
Reading, he's actually when it comes to, he's actually very good at reading. He hates reading. I will say he hates reading. But
kids his age do.
Yeah. But the thing is why reading has been a success is because I've put books in front of him where he would be interested in.
Yeah.
So like when he was 3rd, 4th grade, he actually read the entire series of Rush Revere. And what Rush Revere is, it was written by Rush Limbaugh, and it mixed with actual historical events. And he learned a lot from them.
Nice. So it's like literature and history.
Yes.
Okay.
So
did he enjoy reading?
Oh, he loved it.
Oh, wow.
He loved it, and I knew he would.
Of the book, like what?
So it's
Is it
basic.
a political book or?
No, well, no, it's not a political book. What it is, it's a teacher, a substitute teacher or teacher, um, named Rush Revere. He has a time traveling horse named Liberty. Okay, and the first book starts with, he takes his students back to the Pilgrims, so they learn about the Pilgrims and all that, and then it
So he narrates it.
yes,
Okay.
yes, and
Does it read as he's a narrator as well?
no,
Now step
no,
in
it's
time
an
back
actual.
with me.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
exact, yeah. And then, they have the books about the Revolutionary War, our founding fathers, so he's actually learned a lot from these books.
Yeah.
And then right now, he's on, I knew he'd be interested in Harry Potter. So in the last 3 months, I think he's on book 7 right now, I want to say, because he loves it.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. And like what you said, that you can't read. You can't comprehend something. You can read it, but you're thinking about something else.
Used to not be able to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do that.
Yeah.
I think but I think anybody can. I think most people are like that. Yeah, but like with him especially, it's like, okay, I've got to put books in front of him that he is interested in.
Use your finger. I could actually.
Oh yeah.
When I was in the middle of like my really most self-progressive part of my life, I was reading at a college professor level. I could read like I would literally be reading the book and be like,
yep.
Going that quick across lines. There's so many little tricks you can use, and that's the big thing. Is Jim Quick, Kwik, on YouTube. He's the one that helped me learn he helped me learn to learn. He helped me understand how I learn and how to read. And honestly, a lot of helpful stuff that could maybe help Hayden a lot, because he just speaks to you, especially if you are like slower in some ways.
Yeah.
He speaks to you in a really way that you can relate to him really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So about homeschooling, and then you get to your college level. Do they make you take an SAT or anything like that?
Yes, you have to take the SAT.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, SAT, ACT.
Yep.
I don't know.
Both of them.
Both of them. Okay,
Yeah.
you can do both. Okay, and so do you know like where Hayden is academically? Like, he's in 6th grade?
7th.
7th.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in 7th grade. Okay, he's 12, so he's actually your head then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually slowed his schooling down. So, I mean, the way that we were going, because yeah, he's in 7th grade. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
so he's going to graduate early and get a 4-year scholarship, hopefully.
I hope so.
Weber State University.
I hope so.
What is he going to go in for? Do you know what he wants to do?
So he wants to do acting.
Yeah.
So
okay,
theater.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of good performing arts schools in Utah, too.
there is. But, the thing is, that kid's so smart. I wish he'd go into, like, science or engineering. I really wish he would.
You know what I'm telling my kids? And I'm still going to keep pushing them. Go into Star Force. Space Force? What is that?
Space Force.
Because think about it. You could be the first 4-star general of Space Force, and there are kids right now. I'm sure there's always going to be a 4-star general. But you could be the first 4-star general when we get into an intergalactic battle. There's so many new frontiers, and, it checks all the books. You get to do all the crazy sci-fi stuff. You get to be in space. Come on. Does it get much better than that for, a kid? You would just shot that down, right? Shot it down right away,
Yeah.
I was hoping,
See, and Hayden wouldn't do good in that because he doesn't like being told what to do.
Yeah, that's true. You have to be okay taking orders.
You have to be told what to do.
Yeah.
So
we can't get into this too much because it was kind of getting a little bit later. But now, how about being an entrepreneur and a parent? How do you balance those two things? Go over some of the pros and cons of those. We've gone into pretty well into homeschooling. I want to see how being an entrepreneur affects being a parent as well. How do you balance you and your husband doing the work together?
Well, I do most of the work. My husband's there to help when he needs me to.
Yeah.
So, I'm starting to really travel a lot. Here in a couple weeks, I go to Georgia. And my husband stays home with the kids. So he basically takes over my role. So he does the schooling.
When you're gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he takes over my role. So he becomes mom and dad. Okay. As far as this is going to be my answer this summer, I want to.
Real quickly, I'm just going to check on these to make sure they're all still
Sure.
going.
Go ahead.
Sure, but keep going, because we'll get this angle here,
Well.
So let's keep going. So this summer you want to...
So this summer, I want to have time with my kids. So I'm actually going to be buying another laser cutter. So I'm doing more work with less time to work. I know that sounds crazy, but
being more effective with your time.
Yeah, more effective. Yeah, because I want to have time with my kids.
Yeah.
So I make it work.
Awesome. Just the first time, I'm afraid that something stopped recording. And I know I don't care too much about this one, but the other ones, if we lost the audio and the video from those, that'd be horrific. Okay. Yeah. So he steps up a lot when you're out.
When I'm gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And is that something you guys talked about before, you started doing the shows?
It's just one of those things. I mean, him and I, we're like peanut butter and jelly. Okay. I mean, we don't sit there.
It always clicks.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we don't sit there. We don't really discuss things. We just say, let's do this. And we're like, okay, the other one's okay. I mean, we don't sit there. I mean, I don't know. We don't duke it out. We don't talk it out. We just be like, okay, this is what we need to do. How are we going to do it? Yeah. And then he takes over my role, while I'm gone.
It's kind of no nonsense. You just, if it needs to get done, you get it done.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you have to kind of get into the role of this? What did you do before you were an entrepreneur?
So, before I had kids and everything, I loved this job. And I call it one of my greatest goals in life, but I actually worked with special needs kids.
Oh, okay.
So
it's a calling, it's a mission now, right?
Yeah. Well, it was at the time.
Okay, yeah.
And I learned a lot. I worked with I worked with this family that had hired these people, and I was able to get on board because it was a special assignment thing, and it was working with neurologists out in Pennsylvania. Oh, wow. And they do brain reversal, and they talk about how vaccines, because all these vaccines, that are being pumped into kids, and that's why we're having problems in today with society, with kids with ADHD and all this stuff. And I mean, it was amazing. And I actually, this is one of my greatest accomplishments out of everything. After working with these neurologists, I worked with this other family, and I absolutely adored this kid. He was diagnosed with mental retardation, and he was autistic. Sorry.
Yeah.
He was autistic, and he was nonverbal.
Was he functioning?
Not really.
Okay. Low functioning.
Yeah, he was very low functioning.
Like grunts, could he talk?
So, about that, nonverbal, right? They tried, and I took the techniques of these neurologists, what they were doing with these special needs kids, and I applied it to this kid, and I was able to get him to talk.
Oh, wow.
Not like us, but he could say hi, he could say what he wanted to eat, just one worded,
How long did you work with him for doing this?
Oh my gosh. About a year.
Okay.
About a year. And it was just a consistent, I was actually, because, I loved my job so much. I actually worked 7 days a week. And I worked with this kid 6 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. And
what was kind of the process you went so tell me a little bit about him, his symptoms, somebody listening could relate and say, okay, my child has a lot of those same things. My child is nonverbal. What did you do that helped him out, and what are some of the factors that he has that will help people, say, yes, that's my child or not, like his personality and things like that?
Yeah. So he actually had I can't remember what it is. I can't remember exactly what it was called now, but it was a system where he would it was these pieces.
What
You
year
find.
was this?
Oh
Like,
gosh, this was
that would give us a time
2000,
frame for
2008.
2008. Okay.
Yeah, 2008. And so he would he would grab these little tabs. They were laminated, and he'd be like, "I want
Okay.
chips."
Okay.
That's how he was communicating.
Okay.
Okay. And
How long would it process? How long would it take him to say, "I want chips"?
it depended.
Okay.
It honestly.
30 seconds and 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that.
Is there an average kind of so that people could kind of gauge? Okay, yeah, he's at a pretty similar level. He's better than worse than.
No, I mean, it. Well, see, it depended with him. If he really wanted it, he would do it just like that.
Oh, okay.
If you said, "Hey, what do you want to eat?" and then he would just sit there, for a few minutes,
Thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, he couldn't. One thing, he couldn't go to the bathroom on his own.
Mm-hmm.
So
Was he in a diaper?
he was in diapers at night, and I was working with him on potty training.
Okay.
So I would take him to the bathroom and everything, and so yeah, he.
So what were some of the techniques you used to help him speak?
So one of the things,
or what a resource somebody could look up at least.
Okay, well the neurologists that I was referring to, they're called the Family Help Center.
Okay.
And
Pennsylvania?
they're in Pennsylvania. These people are some of the most smartest people that there is. And so basically what I did was I just took their techniques. It's like brain reversal. Okay. You got to get them on a diet. Mm-hmm. I just talked about a gluten-free diet with my son. So that was one of them.
So what was some of the things that you did to help this child?
So I was never able to really get the parents on board. They had given up. And I mean, now as a parent, now I understand, because it's so exhausting. Okay.
When they're your kid.
Yeah. And so I never understood why I could never get them on board. But I mean, one of the diets was gluten-free. Mm-hmm. Get them off gluten. Okay. Yeah. Gluten has actually a lot of, bad stuff in it that for your gut, and
pro-inflammatory.
It is. And they talk about, from the research I've done, they talk about, like with ADHD, with autism, they talk about gluten. Yeah. That if you just get rid of the gluten. So I tried to convince them to put him on a gluten-free diet. Let's just try it. And unfortunately, it never happened. Mm-hmm. But I started working with him in other ways. I started working with him with giving him mouth massages around the mouth. Mm-hmm. to get, because you use to stimulate the muscles, because you use a lot of muscles when talking. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you have a nonverbal kid that doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing. And then I started working with him, just breaking everything down Barney style for him. Mm-hmm. When it comes to when it just comes to talking and everything. Yeah. And he finally just, all of a sudden, he just started doing it.
Just one word at a time, though, right?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long did that take from start to finish, from when he was saying things reliably enough to say that he is at least somewhat of a speaker now? He has some vocabulary?
No. And it's one worded.
Yeah.
It's one worded.
But he would speak.
He would speak. Like, I would come in and I'd say hi to him. I can't use names. So I'd come in and say hi to him. Yeah. And he would say hi to me. Mm-hmm. So, and after when I finally was able to get him to at least say hi, mm-hmm. I brought him down to show his parents, and the dad was blown away. He was so excited. And the mom,
worth it, right?
Right, it was, and the mom just, it was always, well, that's great, but it's not going to help.
Yeah.
So
the ever pessimist.
Yeah. So, and
that's too bad.
once again, I do get that side,
Yeah,
you know,
you
because
get burned. You get
she
worn
was, you know, and I feel for her because, I mean, she was an exhausted mom.
down. Yeah.
She had 2 children, both on the spectrum. One was higher functioning,
Oh.
you know, and I mean, and then we have the one that I worked with, and, you know, so I get it.
Yeah.
You know,
That'd be rough. Day in and day out with 2 of them.
Day in and day out.
On that far on the spectrum, and
Yeah.
not even being functioning. That's hard. That's really really hard.
And then on top of it, you know, being a nurse.
Oh, she was a nurse.
She
too?
was also a nurse.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so she had a lot on her plate. So, unfortunately, it didn't. You know, I didn't have anybody after I left that house. I didn't have anybody to carry on what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Man, that's a cool experience, though.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I mean, out of everything that I've ever done with my life, that was one of the toppers.
It's fulfilling, right?
It is.
It's fulfilling. It
is.
It feeds your soul.
It
right?
really is.
That's
it really
exactly
is.
what this is. It's
Yeah.
fulfilling. I mean, you know, I've been in and out of businesses for how many have I done that I've told you about? At least 20 that I've talked to you about, right?
Yeah.
Like, probably. And it's been way more than that, right? Obviously.
Yeah,
But
it
it's
has.
like, you just keep looking for something until it's fulfilling. And
Yeah.
that's what I really want, is just that passion, you know? And then when you find that thing and it just clicks and it's just right and you're just like, this feels good, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And then that's with you and your current businesses, isn't it? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Is that it? Like, is this it?
Well-
Is this one of those things that you love doing? You can retire from doing this?
So we fell into this by accident with, you know, and the thing is I like doing it. I like going to shows. I like it.
Yeah.
But it's not what I want to do, but it's going to fund what I actually want to do.
Yeah.
What I actually want to do is, I mean, I love animals, obviously.
Yeah.
I've got 5 dogs.
8 animals. In
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, exactly. One of my life goals is I want to open up a coffee shop, and I want to foster dogs from the animal shelter and work with the animal shelters and get dogs adopted and everything. So kind of open up like a dog cafe.
Is that what it's going to be called? Dogs Cafe?
Nope,
It's kind of a cool name.
Nope, I'm actually going to go back to my other business because we branded our own coffee, so it'd be Fido and the Gang's Tail Wagging, Leg Humping Good Coffee.
Yeah.
So
Dog friendly cafe, right?
and you had the coffee. It was amazing.
I have some. We have some over there. We still use it.
Yeah.
It's
See?
expired, but we still use it. It was good coffee.
It was good coffee.
It's good coffee. Yeah.
So I'm hoping here in the near future. But then my husband is going to take over this current business.
Mm-hmm.
So, except for I think I have to do the shows because he
He's
can't
a
talk.
people person.
He can't talk to women. Oh my gosh, he cannot talk to
A
women.
gorgeous woman walked up. Here. Where's all our product?
Yeah,
Can we sell it all?
yeah,
What, you gave it away? No, I'm messing with you now, but
yeah. He's an awkward big guy.
yeah. He's a nerd.
He is a nerd.
knows
He is a
what
nerd to the core.
Yeah.
But so am I.
He's
So
socially awkward because nerds are, that's
Yeah.
how my father was. He was
Yeah.
a huge nerd as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So, do you think that being an entrepreneur, does it take away from having kids, or does it add to having kids? Because it obviously, same with me, it allows us to work from home, which is a huge added benefit. But now, what are some of the pros and cons with having kids while being an entrepreneur?
Well, with my business has completely exploded, and the one thing I don't like is I do feel like it is taken away from my kids, and
Like your time with them?
yeah, like going and doing stuff with them, and
Would it take away, do you feel it's taken away more so than if you're working a 9 to 5, 8 to 5 job?
well, I wouldn't do that anyways.
But if you were, do you think you would have less time with them in that scenario?
No.
Okay, so you do at least have more time than
Yes.
both parents were
Yes.
working traditional, leave the home, 8-hour day jobs. Okay.
Yeah, but even if I didn't have this business, I mean, we make enough money with my husband's shop that we agreed that I would be a stay-at-home mom and I would raise the kids and everything.
Nice.
We are more of a traditional family.
Yeah.
And
My wife goes out and makes the paycheck, and I sit at home with the kids.
that's right.
Opposites.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bunch of squares in their jobs. Go out and work and make us money. We'll sit at home and take care of the kids, right? Be an entrepreneur, people. Take the kids off.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I feel it does take away from it, and this summer especially, you know, I'll figure it out. You know, like I said, I'm buying another. I'm good. Well, this summer I'm taking time away from any of the shows because I have to prepare for all my large shows starting in August.
Okay.
So, and because it's going to be boom, 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 and I mean, I'm going to California. I'm going up to Washington.
Yeah.
I've got a ton of shows here, large shows. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting, though.
It is. It's exciting. It's really good money. I mean, you know, I make a lot in profit.
Yeah.
So.
And what do you think kind of teaches your kids?
Well,
do you see any of that rub? Obviously, you say Hayden's been a natural entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Had you not been like entrepreneurially inspired when he was younger, do you think he would be that way still? Or do you think that's something you helped influence?
No, you know what the thing is Hayden has my personality.
Okay.
He doesn't like being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
He is on his own program. Mm-hmm. And being an entrepreneur has worked for him. So I've tried to get him to do chores. I'll give him money. He refuses to do it. But boy, oh boy, he'll go get he'll go make all that money for hot dogs.
Yeah.
Because nobody's telling him what to do. And that's how I am.
Yeah.
So he is me. I mean, really.
I'm so sorry.
God, I know. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
I know.
You fight it too.
I do fight it. I do fight it. But my daughter, her and I are, you know, we're like peanut butter and jelly too. Mm. So I expect her to probably start coming with me, you know, in the years to come. Because she likes helping me now. I mean, she'll put...
CEO.
Huh?
Rumor to be your CEO.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But, I mean, she likes helping me now. Put kits together and everything.
She brings a whole new meaning to the term baby boss.
Right? She would make a good boss.
Be the boss, baby.
Yeah, she would make a good boss. She likes telling people what to do.
A little suit. That's adorable. Give her a little briefcase to carry around.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't see Maddie keeping the suit on well in the briefcase though.
No, we're trying to work.
Make it rubber.
We're trying to work with her on that. You know that because every time she gets mad, she takes her clothes off, and it's like, oh my gosh, you got to stop doing that.
I'm angry.
Yeah.
Ah! Even in public.
Yes. She will start screaming and pulling those clothes off, and it's like, oh man.
You're just in the middle of Walmart and your shirt flies up over the aisle.
Yeah, it's coming off.
Ooh,
it's coming off
over there.
What are we teaching her?
Right. What are you watching is my question.
Right.
Where is she seeing this from?
Not me.
Hayden watch TV when she's home without you guys?
Like I said, he watches documentaries.
Do you let Hayden babysit at all?
No.
No. Will you ever leave the house with... will you ever leave them at the house, or even Hayden at his house, even if it was just to say go to the store for 5 or 10 minutes?
I have done that. Yeah, I have done that with Hayden, but
in Utah, I should say.
Yeah, I have done that with Hayden, and but as far as him babysitting, I hate to say it, but I don't trust him.
Oh, that's fair.
You know, he's too well. He doesn't pay attention enough, you know, and I'm a person, you know, I pay attention. I'm a detail person. So
you're kind of controlling and he wouldn't be in control of it. And so there would be a lack of control, which is what concerns you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I've allowed you to watch Eli for very short periods of time. Like I ran to Smith's, grabbed one thing and came right back kind of thing, you know. But like when I go to meditate, it takes me like an hour. I don't like being disturbed or anything. I put my phone on airplane mode and everything. And he's watched Eli through those times, and Eli's gone to the bathroom. He's even wiped his bum.
Yeah.
You know, and he just turned 11.
Yeah.
So he did that when he was 10. You know, which is he didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect him to his first time as a 10-year-old, anyways. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
If you could go back to yourself before you were a parent. The year before, and you could 10 years, any time in your life, and you could give yourself one piece of advice about parenting, what would it be? One piece of
Don't
advice.
have kids.
That's not true though, at all. Right?
No, I love my kids.
Exactly.
I love my kids. They're.
That's not true at all.
Wink, wink.
Don't tell them. They won't watch this. It's boring.
Okay, sorry. What was the question?
If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice about parenting, what would it be?
It would be, let the kids be kids. They will learn on their own, and just let them do it. Just let them grow up. Let them be kids.
Yeah, let them be kids. I like it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching our very first episode of ParentsXP, where we help you level up your parenting. Thank you, Emily, for being on the show, and so we started something great.
All right. Cool.
End the show there.
All right.